Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And I'm going to talk about, I think I'm going to name this the Kingdom of Heaven as a patriarchal system, government. All right, that's exactly what it is. The Lord is setting up men, the prophets. The prophets in the Bible, when you read about, from the book of the prophets, we start with Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, all the way to Hosea, Obadiah, Amos, etc. They're all a part, and the 12, meaning the disciples, with Peter and the 12. They're all a part of the heavenly order, which is going to be here on earth. All right, and as a matter of fact, let me grab a scripture that substantiates that. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, 34th chapter and the 31st verse. And it reads, 34, 31. And it reads, "And ye, my flock, the flock of my pastor, are men, and I am your power, saith the Lord power." All right. So the Most High God, who is Yahweh, through his son Yahweh Shai, who's going to be the head of the kingdom of heaven here on earth, he's left it to men. All right, which is the way it was set up. And so this whole woman struggle, which is perpetrated in a very controlled narrative here in the West, is a fabrication. The Lord set up men and women in the order that he wanted to please, but that pleased him. And when Esau Edom came into power, they violated that. You can watch it in that one interview that Aaron Russo had with Nick Rockefeller. Nick Rockefeller broke down, and not only him, it's been said by others as well, that the whole woman struggle thing, they set that up. All right, because with the invention of the IRS and the Federal Reserve illegally, which goes against the Constitution, when they set that up, they were only taxing one demographic, here in America. So with there being more women than there is men, and by allowing women to come into the workforce, it allowed them to tax more people. And that's what this was really about, their bottom line. They really could have cared less. And now it's all begun to backfire on them, because in the result of that, it has brought on the destruction of the family and the breakdown of the family structure, and pretty much ruined the relationship and the role between men and women. All right, and it was mainly aimed at the Israelites, but now it's destroying all men, all people, especially those here in the West. All right. Matter of fact, let me read the definition of patriarchal. It says, relating to the characteristic of a patriarch. Definition 2, relating to or the characteristic of a system of society or a government controlled by men, a patriarchal society. And I have a video where these women are boldly talking about the fall of that. And they were trying to touch on two things: racism, white superiority, and that control narrative, and how that's falling, and the patriarchal system is falling too. Well, the problem is that this woman that you're looking at on the screen, this very horrific person that they're trying to glorify, they're controlling the narrative, and they're not telling the both sides of the coin. They're only telling one side of the coin. All right. As a matter of fact, there was a clip at the UFC. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But this fight that have UFC 279, they put her face up on the screen, and the filled arena booed her. And the people started laughing. Because the truth be said, that outside of the media, which is controlled and owned by her people, her constituents, no one cares for her or likes her. As a matter of fact, before I play that video of those two women giving a half truth, I have a couple images that I saved that's been going around, because they're like, oh, you need to have more respect for the dead, when these people had no respect for anyone who has died. I think that may be in the phone that I'm using. It may not be in this phone, unfortunately. But it basically is one of the images is talking about how, her whole, I take that back. I do have them. All right. And it says, look, it says, the queen is dead. She made a concerted effort to thwart the independence of movements and prevent newly independent colonies from leaving the Union from the Commonwealth. Her legacy is full of colonial violence and plunder, a legacy of racial segregation and institutionalized racism. And that's very, very true. But no one's speaking about that part, all right? She defended her son's actions. Hold on. She defended her son's actions in grooming children on Epstein's Island, prohibited people of color from working for her until the late 1960s. And that's not lies. That's not slander. That's absolutely 100% truth. All right. Here, this is the EFF, the EFF statement on the death of Queen Elizabeth. All right. And that's EFF stands for Economic Freedom Fighter. So this is some group out of Africa. And here's what it says. I'll read it. It says, I don't know if you can see it through the phone, but it says the Economic Freedom Fighters notes the death of Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, the Queen of the United Kingdom, and the ceremony head of the state of several countries were colonized by the United Kingdom. Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1952 for 70 years as the head of an institution built up, sustained, and living off brutal legacy of dehumanization of millions of people across the world. And this is absolutely true. This is not lies. This is not slander. All right. But yet they talk about, but it's the way that they, control the narrative here in the West when it comes to hit their historical figures. They don't want to bring these sort of things up. And we're talking about from the inception of America until now, with all its presidents and political leaders. All right. They're all in the same boat under this particular circumstance. It says, we do not mourn the death of Elizabeth because her death is a reminder of a very tragic period in the country of Africa's history. Britain, under the leadership of the royal family, took over control of the territory that will become South Africa in 1795 from Batavian control, and took the permanent control of the territory in 1806. From that moment onward, native peoples of the land have never known peace, nor have they never enjoyed the fruits and the riches of this land, riches which were and still are utilized for the enrichment of the British royal family and those that look like them. Absolutely true. It says from 1881, when Sir John Cradock declared war against Amaxhosa in the Zerveld in what is now known as the Eastern Cape, until 1906, when the British crushed the Bambatha Rebellion, or our interaction with Britain under the British leadership of the British royal family has been pain and suffering of death and dispossession and dehumanization of African people. We remember how Nixel died in the aftermath of the Fifth Frontier War, how King Hensler was killed like a dog in the 11th of May of 1835 during the Sixth Frontier War, and his had his body mutilated and his head taken to Britain as a trophy. It was also the British royal family that sanctioned the actions of Cecil John Rhodes, who plundered this country, Zimbabwe, Zambia. It was the British. So they almost had the same sentiment as the UFC fans, minus probably knowing all those intimate details in history, and I can only imagine what more it is. But let's find this video with these two women, and you see Eve following Edom again to the destruction. Like the one I watched yesterday when she said she's okay with abortion as long as it's only black male childs. Well, you sound like the Egyptians when we're in captivity. And see, what you have to understand is that's your patriarchal system. The male, all right, is how your nation goes forward. A woman can't bring forth the nation. A man can. The seed and the bloodline comes through the man, not the woman. The woman is just going to put out whatever goes into her. So if you are a brown-skinned woman and all you're doing is getting drilled by getting seed put in you by pale men like the woman you see on the screen, well, even if your children are dark complected, that's still the seed line of those pale people. All right, you got to remember this whole color thing is something that they made up. All right, and basically made it a fraternal order, so to speak, because they weren't identified. No one was identified as white prior to the 1600s. Okay, that's something that they made up. And it's starting around the mid 1600s, and it actually was written into law in 1681 in Virginia. Okay, but prior to that, there was no such thing as white people. So they've used that to elevate themselves and people that look like them, while still screwing over people that look like them. Okay, and just because you look like them don't mean that you're one of them, because you got many people that look like them whose bloodline goes back to the sperm, the lineage of someone who's dark. So they created that confusion in the world. That's why the Lord has to come and separate the wheat from the tares. If you have understanding, he who has an ear, let him hear. But let's find this video, and here we go.
Okay, there are two things I need to say about the death of Queen Elizabeth. White people who haven't decolonized or aren't willing to decolonize their familial, their religious, or their educational indoctrinations are spinning their heads on this one. Because you're still trying to control the narrative, a narrative that wasn't yours to ever gatekeep.
She's right about that, because they aren't the royal family. The true royals of Europe were brown-skinned people, more like the woman on the left. All right. When Esau Edom came into power, they propagated, the royal line and whitewash history, and basically, well, they've lied about everything. As a matter of fact, Europe was a dark continent. All right, until Alexander of Macedon came and took it over and conquered it. All right, and then started labeling himself by the names of the people who were already there. That's what Esau does.
Has been because of colonization and white supremacy. You want to romanticize monarchy when in reality they have been the source of some of the most inhumane treatment of the indigenous people for generations.
Around the world.
Here's the reality for all of us. The crumbling of patriarchy that is happening here in America is reverberating throughout the world.
So instead of making it a Edomite problem, she's making it a patriarchal problem. And see, the problem is that you just have the wrong patriarchal problem in power. There's not being fair and righteously ruling over the people. So that's that feminist demon coming out, what she's speaking about. And you can see this is some black woman's channel, so-called. She's really brown. You can see her flesh is brown, not black at all. But I only said that so you'd understand what I'm saying. Just like hers isn't white, but yet they'll call her white. Okay?
You can no longer silence the masses who are carrying the pain of their ancestors. And your gatekeeping is looking like this. Well, they just need to be respectful of the dead. But those kinds of statements ignore the pain of the people who have been crying out for generations for their people to be honored and remembered.
Exactly.
You have internalized the
It's
patriarchy
for
to-
example, you say anything about, the Holocaust in comparison to 500 million natives that died here in the Americas, to a couple 100 million Negroes that died during the slave trade. For that, you get called an anti this and an anti that and hate this and hate that just for even mentioning it. So I'm not even going to say much more on it, but it's like these people don't respect anybody else's humanity but their own. At the end of the day, you're not human to them. You're beneath them in their mind.
That you believe that a white woman's death overshadows that pain. If you truly want to decolonize, then sit in silence, hold the space, and let these videos teach you. Now, my second point is about religion.
So basically, now she's gonna go into religion, and she's going off. She's attacking. She starts talking about, don't know what she's talking about. We're not even gonna listen to that. All right. Because the Lord set up a patriarchal, system. As a matter of fact, let's go to 1 Corinthians. Yeah, she really got proud and started going in, and she was absolutely wrong in everything she was saying. But this is 1 Corinthians 11, verses 1 through 3, and it reads. By ye followers of me, even as I also am of Hamashiach. So this was Paul writing to the church, to the family, to the Israelites at Corinth. All right. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I have delivered them to you. He brought them the truth from Yahushua, from the Lord. All right. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of every woman, all right, is the man. And the head of Hamashiach is God. So he gave you the order of things. God, the Lord, our Savior, Yahweh Shai, the man, and then the woman. It didn't say the woman and man. The woman is not equal to the man. She's not. Her role is important, but her role is beneath her husband, beneath her man, not equal to her man. Okay? That's just the way the Lord set it up. You got a problem with that, you actually have a problem with God. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 6. It says, and 9. It says, for the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. The Lord made man first. All right? Then he created woman to be his helpmate. All right? Exactly that. Not his equal, his helpmate. All right, verse 9. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. Women were created for men. All right? And a man could have multiple wives. That's why Isaiah 4:1 reads the way that it does. All right? You got to remember the 12 tribes of Israel, all right, and the one daughter. There's no tribe that came out of her. A woman can't bring forth fruit like that. But the 12 tribes of Israel, the chosen people, came out of 4 different wives. As a matter of fact, I believe there were 12 tribes, and I think Esau had 12 sons too, if I'm not mistaken. All right, I have to go back and read it. And they didn't all come out of the same wife either. Most of his wives were super, super dark, but that curse of that pale flesh, his children kept coming out pale because the Lord needed them to be in the earth to fulfill prophecy. You had to have these pale people. All right, but let's continue in the scriptures. Let's go now to because we already read Ezekiel. His pasture, his flock is with men. So let's go ahead and go to 1 Timothy. 2, and I start at verse 10, and it reads, but which becometh the woman professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp the authority over the man, but to be in silence. And these women in this video, prior to me reading these last couple of scriptures, they're trying to teach and usurp the authority over the man. Even try to teach things about the church when the Lord didn't set women up to do that. So all these so-called women pastors, you know, my one of my cousins became a pastor, and you know, and about 5-6 Thanksgivings ago, she got annihilated at a family fun. That's why they don't invite me anymore. All right, because he tried to say the prayer over the food, and I told her she can't do that. You know, and she was trying to pray over pork, and I told her she couldn't do that. And you can only imagine what started in, you know, before my whole family, you know, and fortunately, you know, my nephew that used to be in the camp was there, and my nephews believe. So, you know, so next thing you know, the Bibles came out, and and they're basically, their Thanksgiving got ruined. All right. I don't get invited to family functions like that anymore. Let's put it that way. But as a matter of fact, let's go to the book of Revelation. Because I let my cousin know, you are not a pastor. The Lord did not ordain you. You got ordained by Edomites, by white men, so-called white people, all right, who don't teach the true doctrine. You don't even know the name, but you calling yourself leading the sheep. But here we go. This is Revelation 6, and I'm 7 and 6, all right? So this is the government, the patriarchal, heavenly government that the Lord is setting up, all right? So this is Revelation 7 and 6, and it reads, and of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. All right? That's your 144,000. That's your patriarchal government in the kingdom of heaven. That's going to be here on earth as it is in heaven. Matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. In Matthew 6, 9 and through 13, and it reads, and after this manner, therefore, pray ye, and this is in red. These are the words of Yahushua. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. All right. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. So you're not supposed to be seeking for riches, your daily bread. If the Lord decides to make you wealthy, he will do so. If the Lord just gives you your daily bread in abundance, he will do so. If all you get by is with your daily bread and nothing more, that's what it is. All right. It says, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. That's the hour of temptation. All right. But deliver us from evil, deliver us from that hour temptation, which is going to be the taking of the sea to the hip. All right, the sea hip is the elder apostle Ramlab, you know, coined it. All right, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Amen. All right. So there it is, man. So the kingdom of heaven is going to be set up on earth as it is in heaven. It's going to be ruled over by particular men. All right. And these Edomites who appointed, you know, who changed the glory of the Most High into a lie, these people by putting a woman on the throne when a woman's not supposed to be ruling over men or nor usurping authority or instructing men in any way. What women are allowed to teach is the children. And when you have male children, they get to a certain age, they come from up under their mother and they go up under their father, under their uncle, or under their tutors. All right. But this is Ezekiel. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way. It's not that way today because the system, which has been set up by these Edomites who were never meant to rule. This is Ezekiel 35 and 15. And it says, and thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel. See, because these people claim that they go back to the holy people. All right. It says, and thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate. So will I do unto thee, and thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all of Idumea. The Lord made it clear to point out Mount Seir and Idumea. Mountains representing power, and the Idumeans sit upon the mountain. Is sitting in the power seat in this earth today. All other nations are under them. All right. He said he would set up the basis of man. So the Lord's form of humankind is actually ruling the earth. That's why the earth is so defiled. That's why they want you to eat bugs and own nothing and be happy. All right. And be joined digitally to their system, which they can have 100% absolute control over you. Okay. Now let's go to Ezekiel 36:5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, all right, all you heathen that are joined unto Idumea, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their hearts, and with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Ishmael went over there first, and then Mount Seir went over there in 1948, and they've basically appointed the land of the Lord into their own hands. It was prophesied that they would do so. All right, so we're going to go on according to prophecy. Well, here it is. All right. Matter of fact, let's go back to Ezekiel. And I'm going to read Ezekiel 1-5, and we'll shut it down. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and in the